Hello and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It's a very exciting evening because this is starting. I've been wanting to run one of the big Cthulhu campaigns for a while, and now I'm regretting that. No, I'm kidding. So let's talk about the channel things. Below the stream are links to lots of things. So Twitch, if you're watching this on YouTube, or YouTube, if you're watching this on Twitch. Our social media accounts, our Discord, where you can come and chat with us and other viewers and other people involved in the channel. It's a very nice place. You may spend lots of money on Kickstarters, disclaimer. And our Patreon, where if you like what we do on the channel, you can support us there and get rewards in return. Things that we do on the channel, this Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep is now taking the Monday night slot for the foreseeable. Wednesday nights we have Simba Room, which is our longest running campaign on the channel. And currently rotating Thursday nights, we have the Yellow King. So this week is the Yellow King. And next week is the next episode, I think the third episode in the Delta Green pre-recorded episodes that we did, that Steve, who is going to be playing this evening, ran for some of us. That's it at the moment. So Monday's this, Wednesday's Simba Room, and then Thursday's either the Yellow King or Delta Green. There is also a wealth of content on our YouTube that you can go back and watch. If you like Call of Cthulhu, I ran 3 series of Call of Cthulhu and some space-based one-shots of Call of Cthulhu as well. And everybody playing tonight has been involved in playing or running other things on the channel. So yeah, check the YouTube out. I think that's everything. So without further ado, I'm not bringing everybody on yet, but they're standing in the dimly lit corridor of a hotel. Ahead of them is a hotel room door bearing the number 410. As one of them knocks on the door, they hear a muffled cry and movement within. A sense of foreboding grips them as they look amongst each other. Something terrible lies within this room. With but a moment of hesitation, they rush through the door into room 410 to find what lies within, and perhaps their destiny. But actually, that's not for now. That's for later. Currently, it's Friday, March the 18th, 1921. There are 6 players, so I'm going to roll a d6 to see who comes on first. It's 2, which actually means 2 for 1. So let's bring on Justin. Hello, Justin.
Hello.
Hello, Sam.
Hello.
You enter Bar Cornado.
Bar Cornado.
In Peru. You, as you are aware, answered an ad, which I will pop up on screen. There we are. Search for ancient pyramid in Peru. Explorer plans expedition to discover site of lost civilization. Lima, January 12th. Explorer Augustus Larkin is planning on an expedition to the southern highlands of Peru, where he hopes to identify the site of a pyramid long forgotten by history. Following the discovery of a number of gold artifacts in the region, Larkin believes that he has found evidence that will lead him to their source. He is currently in Lima planning the expedition and is recruiting companions and possible backers. So you and the other characters answered that ad. And as a result, you each received this telegram. Thank you for joining the expedition. Stop. Please join me in Lima. Stop. Have booked you room at Hotel Mori. Stop. Meet 18 March at 7 p.m. at Bar Cornado, Chiron Ancash 202, Distrito de Lima. Stop. Augustus Larkin.
This does seem to be the place.
Yes, I suppose it does. I was rather hoping for something more grand.
I think we've stayed in worse places in Blackpool.
Don't remind me.
A young man walks up to you, has a name badge that says Jose, and says, "Are you here to meet with Mr. Larkin?"
Yes, Josie. We're here to meet with Mr. Larkin.
Please take a seat at the bar. And he directs you to the bar. There are tables around the room, but he's specifically directing you to the bar.
I'll make sure that I pull the chair out for Mrs. Farwell. And
while we're walking over there, I will just lean over and go, "Jose, darling, Jose."
Jose.
Would you like to describe yourselves?
Well, I guess I'm probably dressed in like a. It's hot. I don't. We haven't looked at the climate. Johnny, you've got to know everything about the climate and the weather of this entire location.
It's warm.
Is it hot? It's warm.
It's,
right.
Yeah,
so...
it's March. So you kind of, it's not the hottest it gets, but certainly coming from England in March, it's warm.
Yeah, in that case, I'm probably wearing like an open shirt, suspenders, and like kind of suit trousers. We've got carrying bags that we're carrying with us. I don't know if would have had a chance to go to the hotel yet, or whether this is our first day in Peru. But otherwise, kind of dressed quite, relative, smart professional. Maybe with some armbands to keep my shirt sleeves up, which otherwise are kind of held up with them. Otherwise, at most times, always ready to do something, always ready to get my hands dirty, and my hands are dirty.
Yeah, and Mrs. Winifred Farwell is dressed in probably quite a nice looking, but not overly showy black cotton dress, quite a long dress, sensible dress, and has a very large wide brimmed black hat on as well. She is kind of average height, 33 years old. She's relatively handsome, but probably doesn't stand out. Fairly pale skin. And yeah, we'll be sitting next to her husband, quietly waiting to see what happens at this club.
Great. Okay. John. Hello, John.
Hello, Johnny.
You are the third member of the group to enter Bar Cornado. A similar situation takes place. So the Farwells hear the door open and somebody walk in, and Jose go and have what looks to be a similar conversation and sort of direct you. He's almost less specific with placement, because he kind of points you over to the Farwells. So he sort of heads halfway between the door and the bar before kind of relinquishing you on your way towards them. So who do they see coming towards them?
They see a slightly disheveled, slightly... I wrote mousy in the notes, but I'll be honest, it's a slightly ratty looking fellow. Don't read into this if you also watch Warhammer. He's got like a slightly greasy unwashed, like disheveled hair, and he went into town before the trip to Peru to get like a nice, cool linen shirt, and it is horribly creased, despite how hard it is to crease linen. But it looks like he's obviously made an effort to sort of tidy himself up from the travel. He's just failed a bit, and he kind of slouches over and gives the Farwells a polite nod, straightens his shirt. Merritt Barton, pleased to meet you both.
Oh, it's lovely. This is my name is Farwell, and this is my wife, Mrs. Farwell.
I'll give Winifred a nod and offer a handshake to Wilfred.
I'll take that handshake and very like with a warm, firm handshake.
Cool. Steve. Hello, Steve. Edwin is next into Bar Cornado. Similar situation. Jose comes and greets you, asks if you are here to see Augustus Larkin, and assuming that you say yes, he directs you over to the others at the bar.
Yes.
So, yeah, give us a description of Edwin, if you don't mind.
Sure. So Edwin is fairly a little bit shorter than average, fairly sort of slight figure, pretty unimposing. If you've seen character creation, just incredibly average in terms of stats. Just, you know. So I kind of figured he'd look a little bit like Keith Sutherland's character from Dark City, but if Keith Sutherland was average and was a lawyer, because that's what Edwin Price is. So he will be wearing a fairly neat suit, probably without jacket, maybe a waistcoat. He'll walk into the bar with a folder with some papers inside, looking around a little bit, sort of nervously, I guess, and head over to you and good evening, Edwin Price. Pleased to meet you. And wait nervously for a response. Silence.
Mr. Barton, you didn't quite finish introducing yourself, but I'm Mr. Farwell. This is my wife, Mrs. Farwell. And Mr. Barton was just saying that he was a
Translator.
Translator.
More of a usually a tutor, a bit of translation freelance on the side, a researcher, really, but here as a translator. Yes.
Oh my, that sounds very useful indeed. I can't say I can understand much of what these people on the streets have been saying.
Yes, it's all quite straightforward once you get the grasp of the language.
That's good to hear. And Mr. Price, you look like you're not in the trade.
I'm sorry.
I'll nudge Wilfred and just don't be rude.
I'm a mechanic, you see, so
I see. No, I'm a lawyer. I'm here to assist with the paperwork primarily.
Paperwork. Are we expecting much paperwork?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Oh.
Let's bring Jack on. Jack, tell us about Ted.
Ted, he's sort of a slim fella. He's slightly untidy, not necessarily in a sort of not necessarily dirty, but he's he's on the go, so he doesn't necessarily always have time to iron his trousers. But yeah, sort of average looking, nothing to write home about. But Yeah.
Okay, you are directed by Jose over to the bar, and you see this group now chatting, presumably who you are supposed to be meeting with.
Yeah, he'll approach the group. He's got his sort of canvas bag bulging with sort of stuff, tripod under one arm, and then another case with his big camera, which gives you hints about what he sort of does, I guess. He'll approach the group and say, are you all here for the expedition?
Yes.
The Larkin expedition, yes.
Yes, that's it. And he'll sort of hurriedly shake everyone's hand and go, oh, hang on a minute. And he'll take his notepad out of his bag, get his pencil ready. He goes, and what's everyone's names? Sorry, just for the...
Well, if I remember right, I'm Mr. Farwell. This is my wife, Mrs. Farwell. This is Mr. Barton. He is a translator. Mr. Price here deals with the paperwork, and you look like you might be a photographer.
Yeah, photographer, journalist, sort of documentarian maybe, and ages, if you don't mind me asking. Just we like it in the paper, just to put the ages next to the names. If that's not too personal, we can get that later if you want.
No, thank you.
It's Farwell with 2 L's at the end, and it's 33.
Yeah. I sort of, as you're sort of talking to him, he's sort of going, yep, and he's sort of scribbling along in shorthand. I'm Ted Hobbs, by the way, just so you know, we're all on equal footing. 31, just so we all know.
I'll make a note.
The door opens again. So I will bring Inga on. Hey, Inga. This goes slightly differently. So you are greeted at the door by Jose, who asks if you are here to meet Augustus Larkin. And again, assuming that you say yes, he walks with you over to the group. And sort of stands and does give you a moment to introduce yourself. So do you want to describe your character for everyone?
Yes, so Martin Shane certainly does have pressed trousers, unlike some of the others. Looks generally quite neat and tidy. He has, but otherwise, like reasonably average. He's got sort of short, well sort of groomed, mousy brown hair. Short moustache, not unlike Justin's that he's sporting today. But yeah, like I said, otherwise, like everything's very kind of pressed and neat and tidy, and he's standing very, very tall, very straight, and very excellent posture. But otherwise, just sort of introduce himself as Corporal Martin Shane and leaves it at that.
At which point, Jose says, "If you would please follow me." And starts to lead you over towards where the tables are. And there are some people drinking or dining there. And you are presented to a table. With these three men sitting at it. The man in the center, there holding his hands out, stands and says, "Ah, yes, a fine-looking group. Please, sit. I am Augustus." And starts to sort of shake people's hands as they are, as he's pulling a chair out or what have you to sit. He's kind of working his way around to introduce himself to everybody, and then ends up background where he was, and says, "Right now that I know you all, this is my friend Luis de Mendoza. pointing to the man on the right in the picture. And says, and this is Jesse Hughes, pointing to the man on the left. How was all of your travel? I hope not too troublesome.
Well, there were a few things went wrong, but I won't trouble you with the details.
Very good. We do have a lot of things to discuss this evening, I suppose.
Let's just say we'll be taken up with the port authorities.
Anybody want to make a psychology roll if you are sort of looking at people and scoping them out?
Ooh, yes, please.
Yes.
Oh.
70 in psychology. Yeah.
Nah.
That's a hard success.
Okay.
I rolled a 96. Best to get them out of the way early.
Is it worth very briefly mentioning the different success thresholds, just for?
Yeah, sure. If anybody doesn't know, Call of Cthulhu, it's a D100 based system, so people have a stat from 0 to 99, although not typically that high, and you roll D100, and if you roll under your skill score, then it is a success. If you roll below 50% of that, it is a hard success, or it would be a hard roll. For example, if I said you need to make a hard psychology roll, and Sam said that I think you have 70, you would need to roll under 35. And if you roll under 20%, it's like a super success. Extremely difficult, or I can't remember what the actual term is. But anyway, so anybody who succeeded, you notice that there seems to be some sort of tension, animosity between Jesse Hughes and Luis de Mendoza. Augustus seems to be oblivious to it. But yes, there seems to be something between them two. Although, as you can probably tell from the picture, Mendoza kind of just has a face on him at all times. 100% of the time that you've been in his company, he's had a sour face, and it's not always directed in one specific person's direction. He's kind of looking around. He doesn't greet any of you with a smile. He's kind of. Yeah.
With that psychology, though, you can kind of tell it's mutual. So Jesse seems to be between both of them.
Yeah, whether or not it's just because he doesn't like that about Luis.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
You're not sure, but yeah, it's certainly So Jesse kind of smiles and nods at all of you as you sit down. So certainly he's not of the same, nature as Luis is.
One small technical point about the system as well. Do you tick a skill when you succeed or when you fail to level it? I can't remember.
It might be when you. It's either when you fail or it's when you get the 20% success, and I can't remember, so I'll check that.
A hard success.
Yeah,
that's tickling in my brain.
Extreme success. That's it. The
only when you get an extreme.
But I'll check that. I'll check that.
Okay, so I don't tick it. Cool.
So Jose comes back over and says, would anybody like food, drink? Larkin says, I can I can recommend the escabeche. It's a hot, sweet and sour fish dish. Delicious.
Sounds
well.
lovely.
On me, of course.
Yeah, Ted will put his hand up and go, yeah, I'll have one of them, and just like a bottle of local beer or something will do.
Very good.
Do you feel like fish today, Mrs. Farwell?
Oh, the fish sounds good. I'm not so sure I fancy something spicy in this hot climate, but I suppose let's not make a fuss.
Well, if you don't like it, I can finish it off.
You'll finish anything, you.
I'll take the recommendation. Thank you.
Well, now it's awkward if I either take the fish or don't take the fish.
It's the Office episode all over again.
Yeah, I'll try the fish.
You
Why
go for
not?
the fish.
Hopefully, this
He says.
something we're
He
all
says.
terribly ill the next day.
Jose says, 9 escabeche and 9 beers.
Wine, if you've...
A bottle to share.
a bottle between two, perhaps.
Yes, that was what I meant, sir.
Anyone
you
else
see
for wine?
You see his eyes kind of dip to your wedding rings.
Yeah. I assumed everyone else was drinking. I kind of start ruffling menus together, and clearly something's upset Farwell.
He nods and leaves. I am glad that you have all answered the call to adventure. Yes. I have not properly introduced Mr. Hughes here is a folklorist, and he says, "Yes, from New York City. I'm well. This certainly ignited an interest in me. You see, anybody paying attention notices that Luis is still kind of sitting cross-armed, staring at Hughes across the table. I have a plan to head up to the Highlands and locate the site of this pyramid and hopefully recover some valuable artifacts. Jose returns with an assortment of beers and wines for people such as they have requested, and anybody paying particular attention will note that he has almost certainly brought over too much, because probably he isn't sure what he was supposed to bring, but rather than awkwardly continuing to ask the English people questions, he's just brought enough to cover whatever is needed.
So it's
For 5 minutes with Wilfred has done to
him. Oh, okay, thank you. We've had a rules clarification. So when an investigator successfully uses a skill in play, the player should check the box beside that skill on the investigator sheet. I think that I made it meaner in the previous Cthulhu adventure. I think I house ruled it. Anyway, so yes, you now all have drinks, and Larkin says, "Too early for a toast?"
A toast to what?
Adventure and reclaiming lost knowledge, and holds up his drink.
Hold up my drink to that.
Yes,
Yeah.
Edwin approves.
Here, here.
Good.
So, pray tell us, Mr. Larkin, what is known about this civilization, if it isn't too heavy a conversation over dinner?
Not too heavy at all. While out traveling in the Highlands, I met various people on my way, and one such man was an alpaca farmer, and he claimed that his grandfather had recovered some items from beneath a pyramid high in the mountains in some tunnels that ran underneath. The grandfather never returned to the site because of superstition, I believe. But he did say that there were other treasures in there to his family. As such, this being a story told second hand, I don't have a precise location for the site, but I've undertaken some subsequent research that may have given detail to narrow it down and make an expedition and search slightly more viable. If anybody wants to make another psychology roll again.
Oh, that
failed.
98.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm giving lots of looks to Mrs. Farwell, which are the equivalent of, well, you can't say fairer than that. That sounds like a good deal. That sounds like he knows what he's talking about. That kind of those kinds of like, oh well,
I'm completely ignoring you and staring at Mr. Larkin the whole time. Although apparently I find him inscrutable.
Did anyone succeed? No? Okay. Larkin then reaches down and pulls out 2 items. One is a pendant in the form of a man holding 2 rods or staves, something, which is sort of embellished with rectangular shapes. And the other is a golden cup carved with geometrical patterns and circles and inlaid with turquoise. If anybody who is any good at archaeology wants to make an archaeology roll.
Guess I'll try that too.
Success.
Okay. Merit is aware that these are from distinctly different time periods and cultures. How much was your success by, John?
I rolled 29 under 36.
Okay. The cup, you would say, is Incan. Probably 15th century, roughly. I don't think archaeology is super your strong suit, is it? It's just based off like your and the other you're less sure about, but older, like quite a lot older, maybe 800 to 1,000 years older, but you're not as sure on location.
Okay.
So were those recovered from this pyramid?
Apparently so. Jesse Hughes says, do you mind if I... No, not at all. And he picks them up and handles them. So he's sort of perusing those.
These are what were found by the farmer's family.
Correct, yes, the farmer's grandfather. Been held in the
Purchased
family
these.
since then. Yes, yes.
Unless I'm much mistaken, one of them looks to be 15th century Incan. The other one, I can't place it. I'd say older, but there's no reason why an older artifact may find its way there. We've recovered things 500 years later. There's no reason they couldn't have.
You have a good eye, Mr. Barton.
Yes, Mr. Hughes.
Yes, we believe perhaps 5th century. From a pre-Columbian site in Bolivia, near the border with Peru, Tiwanaku. That area, as far as our history goes, was discovered by the conquistadors in the mid 16th century. But it's been, there's been some decent archaeological study there for the last 60 or so years. But as far as anybody has found, they left no written records. So there's not too much known about them other than hard evidence found.
It's possible they may have relied more on an oral tradition, in which case a questioning of the locals in case any legends or folk tales exist may be of use.
In fact, John,
Yes.
because you've been chatting with Larkin and it's most relevant for you, do you have language English? I suppose that would be language own, wouldn't it? Which is edu with no extra stuff in it.
Correct.
Do you want to make a hard roll on language own for me, please?
Right. And hard is half, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So rounded up or down, it doesn't matter until I've rolled. Why am I asking? That is a pass. That is.
Oh, great.
Can I do a hard pass on a hard? I've rolled half a hard. I've rolled a quarter of my edu.
Okay, great. That. So you've picked up little things while you've been having this conversation with Larkin. At first, you just thought that he had an English accent. But you think that actually there's a little bit of Kenyan in there in his accent. I don't think that anybody else would pick that up necessarily, unless anybody else has any particular language skills, but I don't think anybody does. So yeah, you have that bit of information. And he says, yes, so it seems that it may be all our good luck to be the first professional expedition to be able to visit this this pyramid. Certainly those of us involved in academics in any way may make a good name for themselves from this. And for the others, I'm sure there is something of equal worth to be found underneath the pyramid.
Might I ask why no one has attempted to visit this pyramid before? Do we have something that they do not?
My good man, I happened across this this alpaca farmer walking essentially in the wilderness. This is not commonly held knowledge.
Oh, I see. Well, that's tremendous good luck then.
Isn't it just?
You mentioned superstitions as the reason that the grandfather didn't return. Are we assuming that this place hasn't been plundered by the other locals then, if these superstitions surround the place?
I believe that to be so. As I said, he said that there was more under there to his family, but they never went back. And, well, I don't know if they would still be alpaca farmers if they had raided the pyramid.
Of course. What were these superstitions, out of interest?
Oh, I didn't particularly think it relevant or right to ask. It's
Are we expecting
Sometimes.
trouble with the locals then? If they're superstitious, they might not want anyone entering it and plundering.
At worst, I think they might believe us fools for heading in there. I don't think that they have any concern for the pyramid. I think they have concerns for themselves if they were to enter.
Sometimes it is worth gaining an understanding of these sorts of superstitions. Sometimes, quite often, these sorts of old wives' tales are full of absolute nonsense, but sometimes they hold a little nugget of something that they just haven't been able to fully understand through science yet. There may be some valuable information. Perhaps not, of course.
Can anyone make... everyone can make a spot hidden roll, I suppose.
Nope.
5, which is definitely a hard success, extreme success.
I succeed.
I got a hard success, not an extreme.
Cool. Anyone who succeeds, and it, Inga, because you got an extreme, and Steve, did you say you got a hard success?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone who got a hard or extreme success, I'll give you more information on this. But everybody basically notices that Luis casts like a killing glare in Martin's direction, and Edwin and Martin, Steve and Inga, you're like 99% sure that it's at the exact moment that you disagreed with Larkin, or what his suggestion was. But he says, yes, I'm sure that on the way we could, anyone we encounter, we can inquire with. Many of the paths that we will take have homes beside them. We can certainly gather information on the way. As I said, reclaiming lost information is part of why we're here.
And speaking of the path, Mr. Larkin, if you don't mind my asking, how far must we travel to this place? And what is the journey going to entail?
Well, and Hughes just puts his hand up and says, sorry, I was quite engrossed there in this, but I agree that, my looking into folklore and such, it often is, not always, but often can be to explain something that is not otherwise explained. And so I agree that, perhaps this superstition is because the pyramids have traps or bad air, something, reasons people shouldn't be in there, or at least should be careful. So I agree with you that we should definitely gather that information. Again, if I imagine that you might look at Luis now to see how he's straight up staring at Hughes, and you actually see that for the last few words of what Hughes is saying, he's kind of looking at Luis as he's saying this stuff, perhaps in an attempt to get some kind of rise out of him, or it's almost petulant in the way that he's doing it, but there's something there. Sorry, Mr. Larkin, please continue. I just wanted to lend some professional weight to what Martin was saying. Yes, of course, yes. Everybody is here for their own reason. So yes, we should all have our professions put to their fullest use possible. So sorry, Mrs. Farwell, you were asking about the journey?
Yes, if that's okay.
Yes, of course. So it's Friday now. I said that at the start, but just for your reminder knowledge, he says Monday. I have hired 3 trucks and drivers to take us and supplies up to the city of Puno, which is on the shores of Lake Titicaca. And once there, we can get some pack animals and stock them up with food and supplies. And then I hope, bear in mind, this is a hope. I'm not sure the exact location, but I hope no more than 4 days across country to the pyramid. Then some time there, and then obviously a similar amount of time returning. Maybe a little less as no, I suppose that anything we've removed food and supplies wise from the pack animals will be replaced with knowledge. So yes, I hope that sounds I hope everyone is amenable to this this course.
Yes, thank you.
Also, anything that you, if you weren't able to bring anything with you that you require, if you let me or Luis know what it is that you need, we can be sure to have that arranged for you and provided. Or if you see something that you need, if you buy it, bring me the receipt, and we'll be sure that you are reimbursed from the expedition fund.
Theodore will say to Louisa, Mr. Mendoza, was it? So what is your role here? Everyone else's is obviously covered that, but You've been quiet. I just want to get some sort of flavour for the articles.
Larkin says, "Oh, Luis here is my assistant." He's still sitting. He does look at you as you speak to him, but maybe he was going to say something, but Larkin beat him to it.
Excited to be here. Looking forward to it.
Sure.
Very good.
Larkin says he's not so much of a people person, but a very good assistant.
Oh, I'm sure we can get you to open up.
Jesse Hughes says, I wouldn't count on that, Ted.
It's amazing what 4 days in the jungle will do for friendships.
Yeah.
Have you worked together before?
The food comes out. The food comes out. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, I'd sort of try to ask whether. Yes, have you worked together before? Is this your first venture, or?
Is that in relation to Luis or Jesse Hughes?
It's kind of directed towards the three of them.
Okay.
But yes, I'm kind of intrigued at this the antipathy between Hughes and Mendoza, I think. So
Hughes says, "No, I'm as new to this expedition as you. I believe from what Mr. Larkin has said that he and Luis here have some history, but no, I just arrived a little earlier than you fine folks."
Well, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Is this an area of folklore that you're a particular specialist in, or is this a new adventure for you as well?
A little of both. I have a great interest in any folklore, and particularly, as you were saying, I have interest in where it comes from, and especially if it does have a basis in fact, whether that's something to keep kids away from a well where the water is bad, or something along those lines. So, yeah, this and the superstition, great interest to me. So I'll certainly be asking questions along the road. Yeah.
As I understand it, was a local to Peru, the bark of which has been used to develop quinine, which is now commonly used in malarial treatments. One such example of one of these sorts of old wives' tales or sort of traditional treatments that actually has some basis in factual evidence that we now use in standard medical practice. Certainly some good examples of it. Of course, there's a lot of nonsense that's done a lot more harm than good as well, but potentially some interesting things that one might learn.
Quite right. I'm sure we'll have some interesting conversations over the course of this trip. Augustus is happily tucking into his dinner.
Mr. Hobbs, do you work for a particular outfit or paper? May I ask?
Well, I guess technically freelance, and I'm doing this on a mostly freelance basis, but a lot of my work does tend to get posted in the Nottingham Evening Post,
I see.
or local paper. Hoping to go a bit more national with this, Peruvian expedition. hopefully has a bit more general interest, interest of the wider public than the typical fair.
Absolutely. I should hope so, with us traveling all this way.
Well, fingers crossed.
I am almost certain that there will be great interest in this. If you are not editor before the year is through, Mr. Hobbs, I shall be very surprised.
I don't know about editor. Yeah, I like to work for a living on, actually getting the stories.
Field editor, then, perhaps. A new title just for you.
That does have a nice ring to it. Well, fingers crossed then, especially.
Perhaps editor in something a bit wider reaching than the Nottingham Post.
New York Times, perhaps, Mr. Hobbs.
I'd have to visit New York first. Maybe that's the next expedition, although I imagine there's a lot less pyramids.
Yeah. You'd be right there. Although I've yet to see a pyramid here, so hopefully Mr. Larkin can provide. Yes, I certainly hope so.
Merritt has a couple of bites of the fish and like a couple of drinks from the beer. And then if he can, he flags down Jose and in Spanish orders something non-alcoholic.
He
Sets
says,
the beer to one side.
Muy bien, señor. And heads off. Did you order something specific or did you order something non-alcoholic?
I asked for something non-alcoholic and asked for his recommendation.
Okay. He returns with an iced glass of some kind of fruit juice. A sort of like a pinky orange looking fruit juice. And it's sweet and delicious.
Gracias.
He heads off and smiles. Well, that was delicious. I hope you all enjoyed the recommendation. If you'll excuse me, I am starting to feel a little under the weather, and perhaps should get an early night. Don't worry, won't affect the expedition. I'll be incredibly hardy come the morning. Damn my weak bones that my mother gave me.
Can I offer any assistance this evening?
No,
From a medical
no,
capacity.
no, quite all right. Honestly, I'm sure I'll be fine in the morning.
Just shall I get a quick photo of everyone? For for the document. To document the evening, the first meeting.
No,
Seems
yes,
good.
Yes, please.
And then with that, Ted will start setting up his camera on the tripod. Probably takes slightly an awkward amount of time.
I can't help but look at Mendoza while this is going
on.
He is staying seated. Certainly while Ted is setting the camera up. And then as that's sort of reaching its conclusion, Larkin says, Luis. And it's not like he doesn't like let out a big sigh or do anything. He just kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, almost like he's been told to do something, so he's doing it. he's moving like not mechanically, but almost like to fulfill a role. Like he's just getting there, and then he will go and sit back down.
Me at work.
Yeah. So yeah, he comes and stands in the line. And Jack, I'll let you do the picturing.
Do I have to roll photography for this? Because this is one of my skills. See whether I take the cap off or something.
Okay, yeah. Give us a roll. We'll see how good the picture is.
Oh, fumble would be magic, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine? No, that's under half my skill. So it's a great photo.
Okay, great. So you won't know this for some time, but that's going to be a really good picture.
Cool.
Oh, keep record of every photo you've taken, Jack, so we can like have a gallery.
Nice.
Gallery.
We can have it over the end credits.
Yeah. That'd be
We were happy.
Just get John to draw them all.
Yeah.
John can draw them all right.
You got
That won't take you very long, John.
This first one, and then just like gradually cross off everyone as they die in horrible ways,
and then like ghostly figures start
appearing in the background. Yeah,
It's when the second picture is totally different group to the first picture. That's the.
Or when we go to Larkin's hotel room and open it up and find like a drawer full of exactly identical photos of the
dozens
20
of other groups.
different groups he's done this with.
Would anyone care for a drink after dinner?
Larkin says, "Well, I will excuse myself, but please stay amongst yourselves, Luis." And they go to head out. Anybody make me a medicine roll?
I failed my 1% chance of success.
Oh, yeah.
I
Same here.
succeeded. Just a normal success, though.
Okay. So Martin has sort of noted that over the couple of hours that you've been at dinner, Larkin has grown noticeably paler and sweatier. And towards the end, and sort of while you're waiting for the picture, you notice that his hands started trembling. And if you had to guess, maybe opiate withdrawal. Would be the reason for those symptoms.
Noted. I will keep it to myself for now.
Jesse Hughes, upon Wilfred's suggestion of a drink, says, "I was going to suggest the same thing, Mr. Farwell. It would be great to get to know you fine folks a little better."
If Larkin's paying, then yeah, definitely.
I'm
He
sure
did
we
say-
can get a receipt.
He did say anything that we needed for the expedition, we could receipt.
And of course, fine gentlemen, this is utterly necessary.
Team building.
I'm sure, I'm sure that Jose can write us up a receipt. Should we keep the table or do you want to sit at the bar?
Let's move to the bar. A little more comfortable, I think, for a post-dinner drink and free up the table for any other diners for the evening.
Good idea. So you head over to the bar.
So, Mr. Barden, what was it you were saying about those objects were a different age or different place?
Yes, definitely a good few centuries between them. The cup, I believe, was Incan, which will be from the local area. Is that right, Johnny? My archaeology is not a 36. Barton's is. the area, whereas the pendant of the man, I would put it about 8 centuries earlier, and as Mr. Larkin said, from the border with Bolivia.
Curious.
Which is
Perhaps-
it's certainly odd, but I
So
mean
you
they'd have
posit-
had trade and their own form of archaeology, I'm sure.
So you posit
Perhaps
that these ancient Incan people moved it, Mr. Barton?
That's
This
Well, I
could be
would-
another collector's collection that we're stumbling across. Much the same way that I highly expect Mr. Larkin has got his own collection of artifacts from various different places and times. Who knows?
either that or the alpaca farmer was spinning a tale.
I got to ask you, fine folks, how much do you believe about what he was saying?
It seems a little
How much-
far-fetched that a farmer would randomly share this information with a passerby.
I was going to ask, how much are you asking whether we believe the farmer's story, the Larkin story about the farmer?
Hell, why not both?
The skeptic side of me does ask, should, if the story of an alpaca farmer is, as it happened, exactly how much Larkin offered for the information?
I do find it slightly odd that, as I say, I mentioned before, it would be terribly good luck if only one person had found this story over time. But I am not experienced in these matters, so I suppose we'll have to see.
And it does make you wonder how Mr. Shane, wasn't it? Yes, sorry. Oh, Corporal Shane?
I'm not active duty anymore. Mr. will suffice.
Mr. Yes, it does make you wonder how Mr. Shane's point might be all the more relevant, given potentially many people have found the place but have chosen not to go in for one reason or another.
Are you getting a bit of a feeling about it, Winnie?
Perhaps. I'll keep it to myself for now. Want to be sure of these things.
I mean, the counterpoint of this is he's bringing us over here, paying, almost seems sparing no expense, What reason does he really, what motive would he have to lie to us at this point?
Long untouched parts of the world still ripe for discovery. We've only really scratched the surface of what is on this world, of what we know about it on this world. I don't find it all that odd that it's not a well-known place, and that we are maybe given this opportunity, or Mr. Larkin at least has been given this opportunity to lead this expedition and be the man who makes this great discovery. Every great discovery has someone who makes it. The story about buying the artifacts, their family sort of heirloom. I wonder how much he had to pay for them, I suppose. But again, not everybody treasures what their grandparents do. People do sell their family heirlooms. I don't find it altogether too far-fetched.
I always believe it's worth bearing in mind when dealing with these far-flung cultures sprung up in the ruins of the ancient world that, I mean, for us, these are incredibly expensive Incan or later artifacts, the solid gold cups. But, I mean, I imagine when you're surrounded by ruins and such, like large parts of Peru are, it's probably just some random junk your granddad found.
Is there a lot of gold in these mountains?
Oh, yes.
There's no one to buy it. It doesn't hold much value. To the locals, perhaps it doesn't hold a great deal of value. For Mr. Larkin and the rest of us, I suppose it would be quite a different story. If you're some alpaca farmer up in the hills somewhere, what good is some old cup to you?
Jonny, can I ask a question as to how well known Augustus Larkin is? Like, is there a chance that we've heard of previous exploits or discoveries, or?
I think that is unlikely, unless you have any particular ties to some parts of Africa that I may have already mentioned.
Then no, not from Edwin's point of view, I don't think.
Yeah, there's no particular public knowledge of him in England, basically.
Well, I have to say, I did rather sign up for this on something of a whim. So as I say, I don't have much experience of how these expeditions go. I was encouraged by a friend, shall I say, to see a little more. So I suppose either way, it will be an experience.
Yes, for every expedition that has some great discovery, there are probably hundreds more that find absolutely nothing at all, or stumble into just slightly the wrong area, or what have you. Perhaps that's us as well, but I don't know. I think I think there's enough merit in this that we've got a good chance of finding something interesting.
Yes, absolutely. And as Mr. Shane said earlier, there's so much in this world that we don't understand. Even if somewhere such as this has been looked at by others, perhaps there is much, much more to be gained, not only in material wealth, but knowledge and spiritual meaning in somewhere like this. I'm very excited to see and experience it for myself.
Oh, yes, very exciting.
Is Mr. Farwell excited, or?
Oh yes, very exciting, very exciting, very exciting.
Psychology roll.
Can I be honest with you? You seem like good people, and I've got concerns that Larkin may be leading us into some danger. He looks around and says, look, my real name is Jackson Elias. Does anybody have any occulty interest? Don't just make a roll, but if you are somebody who might have, for example, read books on stuff, then you can make a roll. You can make an occult roll.
That's definitely my character.
As Hughes or Jackson Elias says this, Ed is obviously sort of writing it down in his notes. I don't know whether he's going to get told to stop or anything, but he sort of raises his eyebrows and starts scribbling with that knowledge.
I fail.
Okay. And he says, so I am a writer, but I'm currently researching a book about secret societies here in Peru. And in particular, I think there may be an incredibly old death cult that is based around the lake that we are heading towards.
Fascinating.
A
My-
death cult? I'm sorry, what?
My gosh, that sounds quite frightening.
Yeah. It's why I so agreed with Mr. Shane there about the folklore. I traced back some old folk stories, and then, well, there were violent crimes, murders, mutilations that happened in those same locations much more recently than the birth of the folk stories.
When you say recently, you mean recent crime investigated by the state here? That's frightening.
Isn't it just? But
You say you think Mr. Larkin is leading us to trouble. Or danger? I mean, I think we all understood this because it's potentially dangerous. Do you mean to say you think he's deliberately leading us into danger, or just that he's perhaps a little blind to the danger that might be out there, or do you think he's complicit in some sort of way?
At first, the former, but as soon as he introduced me to his assistant, who I had been told of by the locals by name, the latter.
So, what, you believe Mr. Mendoza is involved in these cults?
There's a word, and he kind of looks around again, and then leans in and sort of semi-whispers, Karasiri, which I'll spell in the chat for you.
Thank you.
I mean, if Mendoza is in a death cult, the way he's scowling at everyone in the table, we're all in trouble, aren't we?
Well, quite. So that word, it's kind of like vampire. But instead of blood, they take you take the body fat from people. I mean, of course, they don't exist, but my point is that maybe this guy is involved in the death cult in some way. Maybe these are sacrifices. I'm not convinced that he's a great guy, and by extension, perhaps Larkin doesn't know about this. But what's to say that Luis is not guiding his hand in some way, and leading him in this direction for some reason unknown, perhaps to get a group of people there for something that they want to do.
So is this going to be enough for you to leave the expedition?
Oh no, this is more so to keep me in. This is what I'm here for, Mr. Farwell.
So even though you think he's bringing us all into a death cult, you want to go along with that?
forewarned is forearmed. They, I'm sure, won't think that anybody on this expedition is thinking anything is wrong. Perhaps that gives me or us an upper hand.
I mean, yeah, this is fascinating. Pyramid or not, if there's a death cult involved, that is, I mean, well, for you, Elias, Mr. Elias, that's obviously a seller for you, and it's a big seller for me as well. If I can get that angle on it as well. Haunted pyramids, death cults, jungle adventure. It's what's not.
Please, if it's going to be easier, just continue to call me Mr. Hughes, because we need to keep that up in front of. They may be aware of my work, so.
Of course.
Your
Do you
work?
have-
Just my previous publications.
You said you were a writer, yes?
Yes.
Do you have any records or documents or accounts of this death cult with you? The local legend is fascinating, and well, if it's something that may come up, then perhaps some more vocabulary around the subject could be of use to me for translation work.
I do have a small amount. I didn't want to bring huge amounts in case they were found for obvious reasons, so I have scraps. But yes, I have some. Well, my current hypothesis is that this all stemmed from sort of the time of the arrival of the conquistadors. So perhaps some kind of cult in their ranks has spread to the present day, or perhaps some acts that were undertaken amongst the people here have, I don't know. It's a working theory. It seems to go back to about that time. I was also speaking to a Professor Sanchez at the National University of San Marcos. He was interested in joining the expedition, but last I heard, Larkin had ignored his requests. Not sure on reason for that, but I'm supposed to see him tomorrow. Any of you are welcome to join me if you want to. As far as I'm aware, we don't have anything organized with Larkin until 8 a.m. on Monday, so I think the weekend is our own.
Yes, that sounds like it would be most helpful.
We should probably discuss if you believe we might be in danger. We should probably discuss what we do to mitigate any risks. I mean, I do have a weapon with me, but yes, perhaps we should have a
I think
talk
before
about that.
jumping to weaponry, I think some common sense practical measures in the first instance. I would caution that you all about what to consume, and in particular, if there's anything offered by locals, I would potentially be a little suspicious. I think we ought to be quite clear on exactly what it is that we are eating and drinking and where it has come from, that it is uncontaminated and that it's not going to have some sort of side effect that we don't expect, or some sort of effect that we would rather not receive. I think some practical matters there. I think obviously we ought to keep alert on our travels, although I expect we would have done anyway.
And we should
Yes.
we should probably watch out for each other as well. Keep an eye on each other. See what. Yes, maybe a buddy system, something like that.
And perhaps keep a close watch on Mr. Mendoza as well, it sounds like.
Yeah, they are. They're staying at a different hotel. The one that they said to meet at on Monday, the Hotel España. I'm not. I don't know how it would go down if we turned in receipts for their hotel, having already had a hotel booked. But the options there, I suppose.
Well, I'm sure we could cover that if needed.
It's getting a little late. And all this talk of food is making me feel a bit queasy. Do you think the fish was all right?
I feel fine. Larkin looked a little
Not too worried about
hasty as he left.
I don't.
Yeah.
Surely a bit too much what?
Maybe it's all this talk of vampires, but I'm starting to feel a bit uncomfortable about it all.
I apologize, Mr. Farwell. I just thought everybody should be going into this with the same level of knowledge, and I wouldn't want anything to happen to you fine people and for me to feel responsible.
As I say, I think if we're careful about what we consume, there are certainly some, I don't want to say drugs, but certain things that might have an effect on one's appetite. Might reduce one's appearance. What was it? Something about removing the fat or something. Something that might cause people to lose one's appetite or interest in normal consumption, shall I say? But I think you don't have much to worry about in a normal hotel such as this. I think perhaps a little more careful with our provisions once we're out on the road. But until then, I think this seems like a fine institution.
Mr. Elias, how did you find out about this expedition? I assume we all saw the advert in the UK. Was there a similar advert published in America?
Yes, there was.
Seems odd that you're the only American that joined us.
Perhaps again, not to be morbid, but perhaps there is something regarding missing peoples. Different countries. I'm not sure. As I said, my friend Professor Sanchez, who is local, has been not turned down, completely ignored for this expedition. So it seems the further away you're from, if you applied, the greater the number of people who have been accepted, perhaps. I don't know.
I can imagine Mr. Larkin won't want any claims against his discoveries. I wouldn't be surprised if a local professor, no less, has some sort of greater claim to local findings. Perhaps we are a lesser threat.
You might be right. Also, if there's anything to be debunked, perhaps we are not the group. No offense intended to anybody, but perhaps we are not the group to debunk whether something is a legitimate discovery, and he might get. Again, if I'm wrong about what's going on, perhaps there is something else going on, and it may not be such a legitimate discovery, and he may want a group who he gets his 5 minutes of fame from before being discovered. I don't know. I don't trust the guy. And like I said, Luis de Mendoza is a name that was given to me by the locals as one of these, and he mouths. I think it's bad luck to mention them for these. I think every head would turn in here if I said it out loud, so you'll have to excuse my being slightly circumspect. Another thing that I do predict is that from what I have heard, there may be some number more people involved in this cult, maybe in the dozens. Whether or not they are all located here, I'm not sure how far-reaching it is. Certainly what I expect to be my next step is to go and meet Professor Sanchez tomorrow.
But it certainly
Unless anybody
seems...
did want to check in on the Mendoza and Larkin.
Well, we have 2 days.
So I think it would be prudent for me to offer any medical assistance and check in on Mr. Larkin in the morning, given that he wasn't in his best spirits by the end of the evening tonight.
I think I should like to speak to the professor, if I may accompany you.
Any and all of you are welcome. I'm sure he'd love to meet you fine people.
Would you like to go see the professor? Dear?
Absolutely, I would. Sounds like an interesting...
Yeah. We'll see the professor.
One more drink?
No, I'm going to retire to my room.
He stands and says, "Well, Mr. Farwell, a pleasure to meet you," and goes to shake your hand.
I'll shake his hand. I wouldn't expect Mrs. Farwell to join me.
I'll roll my eyes, hesitate, and then follow you.
No, I wouldn't expect it. You could go. You could stay if you want.
I know you.
If you
I know
go,
you
I would say.
I choose
stay,
to come with you.
Stay.
No. It's fine.
Right. Then we'll head off.
I'll join you for that other drink. It's like I say, someone else is paying, so we might as well get our money's worth, or Larkin's money's worth.
So I'll stay for now. Perhaps just one more. I think I might need to make a quick call on Mr. Farwell tomorrow morning as well. Make sure that he's also quite all right.
The man refuses to drink.
It wasn't the refusal to drink. It was the suddenly looking quite upset and sick about everything.
I didn't come all the way to Peru to hide in my hotel room, so I will have another fruit juice. It's quite delicious. You should try it.
Jose, one of those fruit juices with a little bit of that rum.
That sounds like a great idea.
One without for Mr. Barton, and one with for Mr. Hobbs. Mr. Shane, Mr. Price, you joining us?
Just a beer for me, thank you.
I'll have one of the fruit juice with the rum. Sounds nice. Yes, that's
3 juice and rum, 1 juice, 1 beer. Thank you, Jose, and whatever you're having. And please write us up a receipt. Is there anything else that anybody wants to discuss with Hughes/Elias?
I don't think so.
Only
Okay.
all talk.
I was just going to say, on the stairs with Mr. Farwell, I will just say, did it really strike you that perhaps that man was trying to scare us all off?
Maybe. I mean, if
He
there's
seemed earnest, but
if there's gold, then maybe he will think splitting it is easier done with fewer people. There's quite a lot of us.
yeah. I mean, he seemed earnest about death cult. Rather a frightening and strange concept to just have.
I gotta say, Winnie, I really hope it isn't a death cult. I don't think I can handle a death cult.
I mean, I thought it sounded a little exciting, I must admit, but I suppose you're probably right.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Come on, let's get you to bed then.
Cool. I think that is a good place to leave session 1.
Cool.
More.
No, we don't want to.
Johnny's like, I have prepared exactly this much material.
No. My concern is that if we go now, it's we then either have to stay online until 11:30 or we stop in the middle of something weird. So let's stop there.
Yeah. Something weird.
Thank you everybody for tuning in to session 1 of Masks. Yay, we did it. Nobody's dead yet. Yeah. So yes, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. Let's talk about the channel things. Mondays now are this. Wednesdays are Simba Room. Thursday this week is the Yellow King, and then every other week from then on. And Thursday next week is the pre-recorded Delta Green game that Steve ran for us, which was very fun. Steve's first GMing on the channel. It was great. And it was like all of us that played in it. So yes, I think there's 2 episodes already on YouTube. Is that right? And then yeah, so it'll be episode
2 more
3
to go
next week. Yeah, that was really fun. So you should tune in and watch that. So yeah, Monday this, Wednesday Simba Room, Thursday Yellow King this week, Delta Green next week, and then Yellow King, and then Delta Green, and then Yellow King, and then who knows what. So please come back next week for the second one so that I know I didn't do a bad job. Yeah, links below the stream to YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, or Twitch if you're watching on YouTube. Our social media and our Discord, which you can join and come and chat with us, and the people who watch things on the channel and the other people who make things on the channel, etc. And our Patreon. So if you like what we do on the channel, you can support us and receive things in return. And I think that is everything. I don't know if anybody's been looking at if there's any comments to shove up on the screen. But if they have, then please feel free to shove a comment up on the screen.
The one that really jumped out at me is this one, mostly because it was posted when Jonny was the only one on screen. I am fascinated by what would happen if the GM is the first one to get killed off.
Well, that's just Azathoth wakes up, isn't it?
Yeah.
It'd be very fitting.
Jonny just leaves, and then we just have to continue. That's the ultimate.
If I just came on screen at the start with my eyes closed, and then you saw them start to open, and the stream died, that's the real Call of Cthulhu game. Yes, thanks Nightbites for being here and commenting.
I think that is. I mean, I did also like this one from Sam.
Yes, now that would be an impressive derailing of the campaign. No, I think I'll wander the streets of Lima instead. As long as everybody didn't do it, that wouldn't be too bad.
I just love that you sort of like have the awkward assumption. Like, I know that there is that awkward assumption point where the GM, when you're like, are you going to walk through the door? I'm like, Johnny, you don't have to feel awkward about the assumption of, are you going to say, yes, I'm here for that party? That's like the most basic level assumption I think we can have.
But somebody could be playing like, I'm going to hang out and watch this. You know, you might have been kind of trying to be more... that was my thought, rather than like... I wasn't thinking it was railroady. I was more being like, is everybody willingly just acknowledging that this is what they're doing?
Okay, that's a very good point. I take it back.
He also needs our characters to like verbally consent to undergoing this horror, so that we can be bound in some sort of fey bargain that owes our souls to Nyarlathotep.
We didn't read the terms and conditions that are like etched into the door frame.
I mean, I must admit, like, as first session goes, it really is a whole... You know, if I was there, I think I would leave now, but...
I think there'd be, like, strong conversations of, like, what have we got into, like, you know...
I mean, that's why you've never discovered any Peruvian pyramids.
Yeah. But, like, also, like, how much, like, I guess it depends on how much you actually believe in things like vampires and death cults, like in real life. Like, if someone said to me, like, "Oh, don't go to that pub; it's a bit dodgy. That's where the death cult is," I might be a bit like, "Okay, maybe there's some weirdos who hang out there."
No, I wouldn't go to that pub.
Believe it was a death... I might not go to that pub, but I would. Yeah, I probably wouldn't go to the pub, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't believe that was actually real. So, like, depending on your level of how
the point is made that you're still put off going.
I mean, I've never heard a review of a pub so bad that somebody says that it's regularly ravaged by members of a death cult.
Sure, there's more pubs down the road than there are, you know, ancient Peruvian pyramids with treasures to discover. But like, you know, I think like, at the moment, especially with the like opiate thing that like Martin spotted, like I guess at the moment where Martin's headspace is like death cult, these vampire things, this is probably like some community that uses things like opiates that leaves people in some sort of a zombified or like vampiric sort of state. It feels very like, you know, eerie, but it's probably an entirely natural phenomenon in some sort of respect. Not really something to be afraid of as long as you don't get hooked.
There's way too much modelling force mark in that statement.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Oh, amazing. I must admit, though, for me, it was not so much the death cult and more the actual murders that had recently happened in the vicinity that were kind of like, maybe we shouldn't go here. That sounds like a bad idea.
I mean, if you like, never went on holiday to anywhere where there'd ever been a murder, then you can't even stay home. Let's be honest.
You ask some people about London, and they'll say, "Knife crime capital of the world. Don't go there; it's so dangerous." Like,
I was once traveling somewhere, in a small town in the middle of nowhere in Africa, when a beheading happened in the streets where I was, like. And I was like, yeah, and you know what? I actually wasn't fazed by it. So like, or not, which is like, I guess when you're traveling, yes, like you're like, yeah, this is a thing. This is a thing that happens.
Right.
Like,
so you wouldn't go to the Death Cult club after
no, you know what I mean is I'm completely sold by what Inga has just said, because actually I'm like, yeah, actually that's fine. Actually, I 100% believe this. Yeah, that wasn't cool. Yeah,
can't follow that.
Well, that bombshell.
Yes. On that bombshell. Cool. Please join us next week for the next episode. Reminder, Wednesday Simba Room, Thursday Yellow King, but next Thursday streamed pre-recorded episode of Delta Green and so on, but Mondays and Wednesdays set. Links below the video to everything. Thank you for joining us, and catch you next week. Goodbye.